Thanks for clicking play. Welcome to the video. Today, I'm going to be making a YouTube play button. It's not an actual YouTube play button. It is a piece of wood with the YouTube logo that lights up. Let me try to explain. When I was making the plywood Game Boy, every time I was doing detailed stuff, it split apart. So I was looking for something to make it stronger, or maybe a stronger material. I was then playing with said Game Boy on a camping trip when it went dark, and I saw in the thinner areas that the LCD light was actually glowing through the wood. Fast forward to when I did the epoxy test project, and I had an idea. I could use the epoxy to fill in all the little imperfections so it made it stronger. It would also allow me to go thinner on the wood and potentially let more light pass through. So that's the theory, that's what I'm going to test. But for an experiment, I needed a really simple design. Why not the YouTube logo? I don't know if it's going to work. I really hope it does because it will be really cool. Oh God, let's get into it.
Not a great start to the video as I had some technical difficulties with my microphone. All I was talking about is how I cut them into 1-inch strips, but they were a bit too long so I had to cut them in half. But that I'd also got some 9mm plywood to make a test piece as well. I didn't want to waste the leftovers, so I made another keyring. I was struggling with the clamping, it started concertinaing up, so I had to reclamp everything and force it down from the top.
Woo, she's all stuck together and looking cool. It's quite solid, it's not going to break. But whilst I was making this one, I made myself a spare as well. This is made out of 9mm ply with PVA, so it doesn't matter as much if I ruin it, but I don't want to ruin it. But as usual, I don't know what I'm doing, and like the plywood Game Boy, I'm going to be routering down, and I don't know how far I'm going to router. And if I router too far, I've ruined it. We'll test it out on this one first, and hopefully it works well. Anyway, we need to get these flattened down, shaped up. So for that, I'm going to use the jig I made in the last video. Woo!
I think I killed this router bit in the last video, and because they're only small pieces, I thought I'd use some of my other router bits. So I bought some adapters for my palm router that didn't fit. But it looked like all I needed to do was file down the end circle and they might fit. So I came up with some stupid ideas of how to get that done. Eventually, I came up with this coach bolt, nut, screw thing idea, and after a bit, well maybe a lot of filing, it worked perfectly. Before routering these down, I used some of the tips and advice you guys gave me in the comments on my pallet wood table, and I stuck them to a board, keeping them perfectly flat all the way through.
Okay, they're all nice and super smooth. The test piece that I put together with glue, the edges got demolished, they started flying everywhere. But now they're both done, here comes the tricky parts.
First, I've got to actually draw the YouTube logo onto these pieces of wood, because I don't have a printer to make a stencil. Luckily, the YouTube logo is quite simple, because I haven't traced anything since I was 12. Once the lines were all drawn on, I had to start routering out the pattern as carefully as I could, which was terrifying.
Okay, so that's the outline done. That was horrible. I freehanded it with a small palm router. The plywood going in different directions made it really hard to handle. Sometimes it'd go quite easily, then it'd snag, then it'd change directions. Yeah, it was terrible. But now comes for the most important part. We're actually going to give it a test. Yeah, if this doesn't work, you won't be watching this. Oh, I really hope this works. Oh man, this is gonna look amazing.
Okay.
You probably can't see that, but it actually works a little bit in the light as well. Both pieces have now been routed out. This one that I stuck together with the epoxy behaved differently when I was routering it, which is what I wanted. The other one was exploding and shattering, which I've experienced in the past, whereas this one didn't. This one stayed together, it wasn't firing pieces at me. Now for the magic.
Because the wood was super thin, it soaked up the epoxy quite a lot, leaving these big wobbly YouTube logos on the front. So I used the router to take a super fine layer off the top to make them disappear. Once that was done, I had to router out the back section to make space for the lights.
Okay, the front side has been routed completely flat and I've sanded it. That one's done. The back side has been routed away in a kind of stepped fashion so I can stick a piece of wood and have space for lights. I think that's going to work. But as usual, I didn't think this far ahead. I never do. In my head, plan was make wood thin, add epoxy, put lights behind. But what lights am I going to put behind? Luckily for me, I mess around with a lot of random stuff. So I've got this bag of old LEDs. I'm going to see if any of it works. And if it does, we can get this finished.
On my own, see if you can follow. Got me feeling alive. Watch me go, lose control. Is this real? All I feel. Break the signs every time. Let's be real, be real, be real. I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. Ooh.
This is the part where I should be saying, it's finished, it's amazing, and doing a little outro video. But it's not. You can still kind of see the outline from the top. And I want these things to be really stealthy until you turn them on. So I'm going to use the test one, and I'm going to put a layer of epoxy on top. Then if it works well, I'll do the other one.
Do it.
Great success! I am very happy this project worked, otherwise it would have been a massive waste of time. I haven't actually seen anyone else do this, so I might be the first. Probably not though, because there's millions of videos out there, and it's kind of a hard thing to search, epoxy hidden wooden light thingy. Sticking the plywood together with epoxy worked really well, which means when I go to do another Game Boy thingy, conversion, mod, whatever you want to call it, that's what I'm going to use, and it should make life a lot easier. The first one that I gave a light coating of epoxy, I think needs another coat because I can still see the YouTube logo coming through. And the way that I racked up the LEDs, I could do it a bit better. I could try follow the actual logo and it would light up a lot better. But apart from that, it's amazing. I love it. I was very surprised at how well this one turned out. The 9mm ply I was using was obviously rubbish and split to pieces, but it was still salvageable. I wasn't expecting this one to go so well. I'm really happy with the epoxy coating as well. It does kind of give it a plastic feel, but I like the way it's all shiny. Although it got a very good coat on the top, but around the edges it was a bit iffy, so yeah, I've got to figure out a better way of doing that. But now, I want to ask you guys something. What should I do with these? Should I list them on Etsy like the rest of my stuff and try to sell them? Should I do the YouTube thing and hang one in the background? Or should I improve the back and the LEDs and send them to someone else who does woodwork or someone who would appreciate this kind of light up RGB YouTube logo? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if there is someone you think I should send it to, drop their link and I'll have a look. Or you could just be cheeky and ask me to send it to you. I don't know. As usual, any tips, questions or suggestions, stick them in the comments below. I'm standing quite awkwardly because I'm halfway through my next project. Hopefully that'll come out soon. I know I always say that. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.